on the earth, hearts in this moment. Let's begin.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hi,
Been a minute. Literally. I fed Caligula.
Thank you.
I want her to love me.
The easiest way to do that, we have the dehydrated fish.
I gave her one.
Yeah.
Yep.
She'll get there.
I know what she likes. She has taken it from my fingers before. But
Yeah.
she didn't this time. She was all nervous this time. So I just dropped it in the water for her.
Yeah.
All right. I'm taking all Meg's money. Little at a time, I'm taking Meg's money.
Yep.
So I think I told you a couple weeks ago that I decided to no longer be a pet tech certifier.
Yeah.
So I canceled that, so hopefully they won't take any money out of my account. Cause of course I haven't heard anything back,
Yeah.
no response, cause that's their MO. They're not a very good, they're not very responsive. They kind of leave
In
that
the
hanging.
same boat with that, actually. I mean, I have my own CPR class now. Yeah, they actually have been trying to email me while I was gone because my credit card that I have on file is expired. I'm not gonna do that, actually.
Right, yeah. Then
So I was gonna email them back and be like, hey, I'm done.
yeah,
But
you could still do that, but see, that's the thing. They just don't, they're not very responsive. Like
when they want their money, they
I've
are.
sent them multiple things and they haven't, really. Yeah. Anyways, so I decided to, so I could show people, I could always say, bring a dog,
Yeah.
bring a stuffed animal, and I'll show them on mine. And
worst
right.
case, you could also borrow.
I can also borrow the dogs I just sold to Meg. Right.
Yeah.
So
You'll be fine.
but I kept all my cats. And I
Nice.
couldn't believe how many fucking cats I have.
Yeah.
I must have a dozen stuffed cats. And my granddaughters are gonna love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I decided to keep and I when I pulled them all out of the bag and I thought, well, I don't really need to keep all these cats, do I? And then I thought, well, maybe I'll let go of the duplicates because I have a couple, but that was only like 3 that were duplicates. And then I was like, I'll just keep one. So I kept the cats. I'm keeping the cats. Yeah. So so that's what I've been doing. I decided that, one day my dad is not going to come back, right? He's going to stay in Europe. He's going to get to that point where he can't do that traveling. He's 85 years old, right? He's going to be 86 this year.
It's impressive that he can do it already.
But I don't see him slowing down, right? Like I don't see him not coming back.
Yeah.
Like he's going to do the back and forth for a few more years. And so I've always kind of thought about, well, one day he's not going to come back. And then when he decides to stay there, then I'm going to turn his again. A long, narrow space. We have a bed on one end that's like a spare room. And then the rest of it, there's like my office space. And then at the end, it's kind of been a mishmash. Like I have a marble table that is an antique table that was from my dad. And it was kind of an altar space. I have a mirror this mirror, I love this mirror. It's a mirror at a rummage sale years ago, and I just fell in love with this mirror. And so that's there. And then it kind of had some altar-y kind of stuff on it. But then that's shifted. And then I had a table where I was gonna, have kind of a second office space, and that kind of shifted. So I've opted to, I'm gonna clear this space and I'm gonna bring the kids' toys up. And I'm going to make this landing their playroom. So I sent some pictures to my daughter yesterday and I said, hey, help me come up with some ideas. And of course, she sends me all this stuff from Pinterest, which is, like beautiful stuff.
Mhm.
But it's got me thinking, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm kind of trying to revisualize and rethink some of my spaces to make them actually functional and getting rid of stuff that I don't need. So more of the same, really. I've been doing this for a couple years.
I feel like that's kind of like a constant thing. Like you constantly, like, we just pick a new space every time where we're like, yeah, we're just gonna purge all this shit. So like it's just a cycle at this point. So I mean, I used to get mad at myself when I'd get to the point where I have to do a purge because I'd be like, why did I get all this shit? But then I'm like, I enjoyed it while I had it, and now I can get rid of it, and it's fine.
Somebody else can enjoy it.
Yeah. So yeah, to do some. I'm still recovering a little bit from
You've
everything.
been back, what,
A
not
week.
even a week, barely a week. Yeah.
Yeah. But I do plan. I actually am gonna do a lot of purging in the next couple weeks. I think
Yeah.
me and John are gonna go through some stuff. Need to make some room in my closet for all of my skincare.
Gosh, I wish I could get my husband. He's got his own projects though. Like,
Yeah.
he's got his own thing. He mentioned yesterday he wants to paint the basement steps. So they were painted years ago. And so they're, they get used, the paint, wears off. So they need a fresh coat of paint. So he's like, what can I paint steps? And of course you can. He goes, well, I need money. Oh, well, yeah. I said, just use cash, just I have some cash from grooming, use that. Try not to use any cards. We're trying to,
Yeah. Not use
trying to
cards.
not use the cards. So just use the cash. He says it'll only take like $50. And I'm like, all right, well, that's
Yeah.
hopefully it'll only take $50, but okay. But he's asking me like what color. So I think we're settling on kind of a bluish gray,
Yeah.
and which is dark enough, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's what we're gonna settle on is kind of a bluish gray. But I love painting.
Mhm.
Well, I don't paint physically.
Yeah.
He usually
You
does.
like picking out the paint?
But I like picking out the paint colors, and I like when there's a fresh coat paint.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of looking forward to doing some painting in that upstairs area.
Yeah.
But see, it's like a one continuous.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, how do you paint this section one color
And then
and the
the other.
next section another color and not have some weird paint line? But like I'm actually sitting here now and I'm like looking at this wall and just these little
Detail
details
things.
on the wall, and I'm thinking, well, that might be it. Like maybe in that transition,
There's
there's
a
a little paint thing, just something that can blend the two spaces together, keep them, but also separate them.
yeah.
Yeah. So now I'm thinking, but first I got to clear the space and
Yeah.
kind of have an idea of what
So
I'm gonna do.
I've been working on planning next year's trip already,
Career trip. Yeah.
and then also putting in place things to try to get people interested. Because Mr. Shin, who is the president of the KKC, he challenged me to bring 10 people next year.
Yeah.
And the rational part of me that actually responded to him said, I'll try my best, but don't count on it. But in my head, the stubborn part of me went, bet I'm going to figure that out. And so now I have a goal.
Well, you know what? I would say that, yeah, how do you do that?
Well,
So for me, if I was going to do something that was going to take a lot of money,
mhm,
I have to put a little bit away all the time. I poodle, like I was a couple hundred away from. Actually, I had it. It just wasn't in the bank yet, right?
mm,
Like, and I had all my money saved, and then we got hit with fucking taxes.
ugh,
And I had to pay. I had to pay. And so I could have taken the money from a different account, but the reality is, this is the only money that's really free and clear, not intended. I mean, it's intended for the poodle. Thought he would be like, well, then I guess we can't get a puppy,
yeah,
and, but he didn't, which I was so grateful for that he said that. Cause it's like, good. Cause I don't want to,
yeah,
and I'm gonna fight to not give up on my puppy. But I'm starting over again.
hmm,
And now it's less than a year
yeah,
away, but this is the third time I've had to start over putting my money away.
yeah,
But that would be the thing. Like for me to do a trip like that, I would have to be able to put the money away,
hmm,
but I would almost need it to just be gone on
yeah.
my site.
I think we're working on. So what I'm working on is I'm going to have it all planned out basically with exactly how much it's going to
Everything
cost
would
for
cost.
everything,
Yeah.
and I'm going to have like basically two different packages. Like there's the basic one of just the weekend for the competition and like a couple days after. And then there's going to be, if you want to
Like a
add
week
on
long.
the extra week of classes. But then we're going to work on payment structure so that people can pay into it throughout the year.
That's me personally. I mean, it still wouldn't change the fact that somebody could cancel and get all their money back,
Yeah.
but
Well, and at some point we're going to have it be like
like all
refund
back.
past this.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you can only get so much back
Yeah.
because you have to. Otherwise, I don't think people really realize like when you get those special rates, you actually have to pay for those beforehand.
Hmm.
And then if people don't show up or they cancel and they take all their money back, then it ends up costing the other people more. So there's a reason why they have no refunds after this particular day.
Yep. So yeah, I'm working on that. And then so the biggest hurdles that I hear is the money, which I can only do so much, but at least it'll all be laid out and easy. And I'm trying to make it so that like, like even the extra days, like they can choose not to kind of thing, but the prices will be there. But then the other thing is a lot of people are very intimidated competing against the Koreans. And I get it.
I don't do the competition. Like I don't do creative dog and part of me wants to, but I
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Mm,
yeah.
we need to get you doing some
You need to
creative
get
on the
me,
model
yeah.
dogs.
And the thing of it is, and I've said this before, I do need to do it because I really want to learn how to use my airbrush.
Yeah.
I have an airbrush and I've done a little, very, very little. When Charlie, a million years ago, it feels like I did a little bit of airbrushing, like on all over pattern, kind of
Yeah.
stuff, comfortable with, which, like pink and rainbows.
Yeah.
That was kind of like she was always pink or rainbow because that was something I was always comfortable with
Mhm.
around, So I do need to learn to
Yeah.
do more airbrush
Well,
stuff.
I think we're also so I'm doing every Tuesday and Thursdays I'm doing live working on model dogs where I'm doing Q&As so I can answer people's questions about them. And I'm showing how to do it and I'm teaching I'm doing it explaining how they taught me in Korea so that we can understand how they do it.
We need to plan a day. Allison has already put it out there.
I actually
We need to just do it.
me
We just need to pick a day. See, here's the thing. What happens is that it's always like, who's interested? And everybody's interested, but then it dies right
yeah.
there. Whereas
Well,
you just need to go, you know what? This day from this time to this time, this is the cost. Be here.
yep.
I can hold 10
I
people.
was
Be
working
here.
on me and Allison and
Somebody in town,
the
somebody
one she went with us to Intergroom last year.
Karen?
Yes, Karen. Jesus Christ. So Karen, I'm scheduling a day
Or
with those
what
two.
did we call her?
Oh no, that was
Yeah,
Shauna.
Shauna. But what did they have on her? Remember her badge
Yeah,
was
I don't remember Shawana or something.
Shawana. Yeah,
Shawana.
can't remember. It's so funny that we
But yeah,
call that poor
so
little.
I was actually working on scheduling a day with them, and then I was gonna be like, should we open it up and see if anybody else wants to come?
Because you know what, I would definitely be in for that. Like I would pay the fee to get my dog and everything, bring what I have, and then just kind of sit and spend a couple hours
Yep.
learning how to do, shapes and putting color in one spot. That's what I need to do.
Yeah. So that's it's in the works. We're gonna try to do those kind of get-togethers more often. But yeah,
It's
just
funny.
trying to get people feeling more comfortable with it
I was
because so many.
so it came up in the Wisconsin group, excuse me, groomers group. Somebody was posting a lot of so it ended up in the admin group in our message group and like what are we going to do about this, and somebody was like, well, how did this person get in because they're not even in Wisconsin, and it's like, well, we allow groomers that aren't from Wisconsin. They just have to be a groomer and they have to be coming here. They have to give a reason why they want to join our group, and if it's just to solicit, then we don't allow that.
Yeah.
But if they want to come because they're we just kind of watch what they're sharing and why. But anyways, I said, maybe stuff like this we need to have a folder or a file
Hmm.
so that people can go and look for events. So because I said it, I thought, well, I don't even know what we have in our events. So I go to the events. Oh my gosh, we had events from 2014. in there. So I went through and I deleted all the events. But it was funny because going back prior to like from like 14, 15.
He's on Instagram as Silver Take. Yeah, he's pretty well known, and I've been following him forever because I am obsessed with the way he teaches. He does a lot of like he's artsy, so he does a lot of like where he does it with clay first to show how to do balance and stuff like that. And so I really like his teaching style. So I've been following him for a while. I got to meet him for the first time at the competition. He was judging, and Harley thought it was hilarious to surprise me. I didn't know he was going to be there. And it was before the
Did you
poodle.
go all fangirl?
Well,
Did
kind of. So it was right before the poodle competition. I was like literally prepping for the competition, and she brings him over. And of course, he says my name, which is adorable, Stepani. And I'm like, I couldn't say even English words at that point. I was just like, she got a picture, and I'm like bright red.
Yeah, that's so cool.
But yeah, so he's the first one I'm going to work on getting here because he's supposed to be in the US this summer anyways, July and August. So I'm hoping to also have him come here to do some classes.
Nice.
So, but yeah.
I did not know that. No, that's very good. That's why I was asking, like, if they do what, like cats, because I want to do more cat stuff. But I get it too. Like, I mean, okay.
But yeah,
let's get into it because I know you got shit to do today.
Fortunately.
We
Yeah, we did the opening. So where
moon phase.
Moon phase.
Moon phase.
So the moon phase for today, which the day it's coming out is 6/4. So is the waning gibbous. So the energy is release, refine, adjust. So waning was when it's down.
Yes, getting smaller.
Yes, getting smaller.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, releasing. That makes sense. What's built up is now visible. So yeah.
We were just talking about clearing excess before it becomes a bigger issue. Purging.
Purging.
Okay, now.
But not in the food way.
Bitch.
And then maintenance over waiting until it's bad enough. Funny story, actually. Me and my sister today were talking about how we didn't really learn how to clean. He didn't know how to clean. And then we didn't know how to clean. And it was an issue. And like John had to teach me a lot of cleaning when I met him. And we were talking today about how, like, the only reason we knew even a little bit was because we spent time with our grandma, who I don't know why she was such a good cleaner, but never seemed to teach my mom, but whatever. But she was very organized and very clean. And so, like, we were talking about, like my sister was like, I didn't know that, like, you could just fold a thing of like a load of laundry. You don't have to do all of it at once. And it was just that made me think of it. Like we had to wait, like we would wait until we got all of the laundry was dirty, and we had to do all the laundry at once, and it would take forever. And it's like, we should have been doing the maintenance.
Yeah, maintenance. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
my mom was like, we didn't live dirty, but my mom was not a cleaner. We had a lot of clutter and a lot of dust. And so periodically, like every few months, there'd be like the big cleaning day, right? Where everything would come off and all the surfaces would be dusted and things would be put back, and things would get put away where they actually belong. I was never taught like you could just do basic maintenance in between. And then it's not so bad when you have to like deep clean. Yep. Yeah. So that made me think of that. Yeah. I just pulled all my curtains in my living room and my bedroom down. So when my dad left, I cleaned the bedroom. Like I started on one end and I wiped down the walls, I pulled the curtains, everything was dusted and, pulled all the books off the shelf to clean before we moved back into that room. And then I did the living room where I pulled all the curtains and dusted and everything. Yeah. So yeah. Maintenance though. Yeah. Maintenance is better. Yeah. So topic. Yeah, our topic. Short coats are not no coats. Go figure. Funny, we were just talking about that. Were. So one of the biggest misconceptions in grooming, it's not so much about haircuts. The misconception is that short coats don't need as much work. Grooming, right? They don't need anything. They don't need anything, but it's
just because they're short and they don't need haircuts, it's more about like taking care of their skin and the shedding and doing that routine care.
Which is like nails and ears and,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, that is the topic today.
All right, I like it.
So,
Okay, it's my I'm up. Right. So our tarot pull is the Four of Pentacles: conservation, frugality, security, control, stability that could turn into stinginess, materialism, and possession. Let's see. Now, how does that fit in with short coats or no coat or are not? The frugality, I think of that as, people tend to put off,
yeah.
maintaining those short coats because they don't need to.
Yeah. They don't
Um,
prioritize it as much for sure.
right. Cats done regularly because there's that misconception that cats groom themselves. They hate water. uh, just all those misconceptions that go along with cats and,
Mhm.
or, sadly, most times I meet a cat for the first time, they're upwards of 8 years old, and it's when they've stopped being able to maintain what they've been able
Themselves.
to maintain. Because I've had short-haired cats forever, and they don't need as much help from me, until they do. And the problem we find is that we're introducing cats to something very stressful because it is grooming is
Yeah.
very stressful. They have to leave their house. They're coming into a new environment with sounds and smells
Yeah.
that are unfamiliar. It's scary. They're also, they're both predators and prey animals, so
Mhm.
they don't know what's
Yeah.
going to happen to them, and we have to try to get them okay with this process
Yeah. And they've
when
never
they
done it
need
before.
it. And now we're at that point where, they don't have an option. Whereas if you
Yeah.
just started them when they were younger, got them used to it. And it's the same with dogs. You want to get them used to it when they're young so it becomes a routine and not a punishment.
Yeah.
And it's the same with cats. You want it to become not stressful, or at least less stressful, and just like, okay, it's not a big deal. They're
Mhm.
not going to hurt me. This is what's going to happen. It's fine. But, it's hard to start when they're already.
Yeah, because they're they've already like they've got their routine, they've
Yeah.
got they've lived life for a while, and then you're gonna
Yep.
change their life very quickly. Yeah. I You definitely see it the most with cats because of those misconceptions, but even like short-haired
Oh,
dogs, it's
yeah.
really bad. I don't know how many times I'll have people that'll be like, "I can't believe how much he sheds. That he's got such short hair." And I'm like,
They shed more.
"Yeah,
The shorter the hair, the more often they shed, the more they
yeah,
shed.
uh-huh,
Indoor, and here's the other misconception. Indoor cats or dogs shed more even in the winter because of the unnatural light. Like
mhm."
they're gonna shed more. It's not like
Cycle's not the same as if they
education.
were.
Education is the number one part of our job.
Mhm.
And I don't think enough of us really understand
Yeah.
that it's about it. We have to educate the people.
Mhm.
And we're fighting. We're fighting all those myths and misconceptions. And heaven forbid something goes wrong at a grooming salon and you're just back to zero.
Yeah.
And it's, I see all the time. I okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So yeah, uh, the reality is they are having a constant shedding cycle. Like we said, with the different or with our unnatural lighting, it's not so much just a twice a year thing
Right.
anymore. Like that's
Right.
not what it is. So, our focus is shifting more on skin health and coat function versus like a haircut, but it's still just as important. In fact, I think the dogs that I see the most skin issues on are the short-haired dogs who don't regularly get baths
Yep, I would agree.
because they end up with the clogged
Yep.
follicles and, the dryness,
Yep.
the dandruff, then they're itching, they get
Yep.
hot spots, like it's a problem. And then on top of that, if they get impacted with undercoat, then they have issues with temperature control and all of that. So, um, what actually builds up on them? Oil, especially with cats. Dander, like I said, when you're not getting that airflow, everything dries out. And so it produces more dander, which just makes everything itchy.
Yeah.
loose undercoat, those ones that you touch them and the hair just globs off.
I have a cat like that at home. He needs to be bathed more often, but he is such, here's the thing. I'm a groomer and I groomed this cat. I mean, we've had him since he was 4 weeks old.
Mhm.
And he would get baths because they would get all poopy butts, right?
Yeah,
When they're babies, they just get poopy butts. Sam will pet him
yeah,
and he'll pet him like this and then his
yeah.
hand. It's like,
I
how
am
can you
so
do that?
thankful that Chiana, she maintains herself very well
For now,
for now,
yeah,
because there's no way I could ever get her to let me groom her properly.
yeah, that's him.
She even freaks out over brushing.
Yeah,
So,
he never gets fully dry.
yeah.
Like I can when I
Try,
right,
I
I
just
can give
need to
him a
do
bath, but
it.
he just never gets fully dried
Yeah.
because he just freaks out, and it's not worth it. I don't
Mhm.
want I'm trying to not make this stressful, so I'm not gonna push
Yeah.
him past his
Fry
limits.
lets me
Never
groom
gonna
him,
make
but,
it good.
he just looks so sad that I hate doing it.
Mhm.
And then environmental debris, that is,
Yeah.
they get into, especially cats, they get into weird shit sometimes. But then dogs too, like, they're
Yes.
going outside. The dogs are going outside.
Cats will come up from the basement
Oh,
with just cobwebs all over, and I'm like, "Where were you?"
yeah.
Like, "Where were you at? Like, what corner or nook or cranny are you crawling into to find this stuff?" Yeah. That last night, the kitten, Winnie, came up the stairs, and I could hear she had something, and so she brought it she carried it to the couch because I'm not getting up. But I leaned over and I picked it up, and it's a C-clamp, a metal C-clamp that she carried it up the stairs from the basement in her mouth. Like, what the hell is with you? She's so weird, so weird.
Cats are
Anyways,
so fucking weird sometimes.
moving on, moving on.
Affecting their temperature control,
Yeah,
but it also, like, it's gonna make them dry out because 'cause they're not
yeah.
getting.
It also hides things
Mhm.
underneath that, might be festering. Like if your cat or dog do get wet and then, excuse me, and they're not getting washed and dried on a regular basis, but they're just kind of sitting, that's moisture sitting underneath
Yeah,
that impacted
especially an
coat.
impacted coat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not a good thing. Skin irritation,
Yep. Dullness,
excessive shedding.
excessive shedding,
Yeah.
lots of shedding. So, some tools that could be used for these dogs. There's the rubber curry. There's some de-shedding tools that you have to make sure you're using correctly.
Oh my gosh. So can I just
Uh,
tell you, I'm sure we all see these ads on Facebook for some gadget, right? Some comb. Usually it's like one of those mat breaker combs or what were they, Coat Kings,
mhm.
they're kind of aggressive and they show these and they show and it's bullshit AI generated pictures of, they show the dog with all the big clumps and they just look and it just magically disappears. And we know the reality is that is not reality. And they just market this shit. And of course you look at the comments and they're, it's all bullshit. Oh, I love it. No, and everybody's just all for it. And I fucking hate those ads. Think
Yes,
they're
because
so
so many of these
freaking
tools need to be used
dangerous.
properly.
Right. And the way they're showing people using them, it's like, oh my God, I see these animals just being harmed,
Yeah.
and then after you've harmed your animal and you realize, oh, I shouldn't be doing this, I'll take it to a professional. And then you still don't understand why your animal is terrified. Because even though I didn't hurt your animal, they're equating this whole process with pain and being harmed.
Mm,
And this fucking cycle that is just like,
yeah.
I don't know why people just refuse to listen to professionals.
I don't know either.
If I have a problem with my car, I don't just go, well, I think if I put water here, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I don't do that because
It's fine. I mean,
God,
it'll be fine. Yeah. And then proper shampoo. That's a good one.
yeah,
Um, I think it's also missing conditioner.
yeah,
Conditioner is very important for these dogs.
yeah.
They need to have that, especially like,
Stripping all that oil out
yeah,
to put
especially
something back.
these short coated
Yeah,
dogs. Their whole thing is that moisture, and if you take that away, they're gonna turn into a mess. I don't know why ChatGPT put this in here, but I mean, it kinda makes sense. You can't fix what's underneath with surface work.
Right, you gotta get
You have to make sure you're getting down there. A lot of people think I mean, if you think about, like, people who even just have, like, doodles, they're like, "If I keep it short, it'll be easy to take care of, I won't have to brush it," and it's like, you still have to brush it.
even if that's true, I don't know that that's the message we wanna convey,
Yeah.
because then it gives people
False sense of
that false sense
security,
of security, and then they think every cat they get from here on out, they can treat the same, and
and that's
it's
not
just
how it is.
that's right. Okay.
So, behavior. So, dogs only groomed when they're bad, in bad shape. So, they might be, oh, big stretch. So, like, it takes a lot more time to do an impacted dog, and it's not comfortable.
Oh,
And, you know, the, even though we can brush it out when they're impacted sometimes, like, it's still very much like a mat. When you remove it, you're,
pulling.
you're pulling,
Yep.
and it's also all the blood is going to rush to that area.
Yep.
So, it's uncomfortable.
Yep.
Like,
Like your foot.
like
Your
when your
foot
foot
falls
falls asleep.
asleep. Yeah.
So yeah, like
Imagine that all over your body.
so it makes a negative association with grooming then when they're only getting groomed when their condition is bad. And then, the irregular grooming, it's not part of their routine. Dogs especially are very routine. Like people don't realize that. They want a routine. And part of their routine can just be getting groomed once a month.
Yeah.
And then it makes them they're like, okay, well, this is part of my life.
Yes. This is yeah.
So the routine grooming equals predictability and trust.
Yeah.
They know what's coming, so they can trust you. And if you're doing the same thing every time, they know they can trust you to not like hurt them. They learn that, they're going to be fine. And they might not like it, but they're going to be fine.
Maybe.
So client education, we were just talking about, we need to shift the just a bath dog mindset.
Oh my gosh.
I think even within the grooming,
Oh, yeah. Shift that.
so
Right.
many people, I hate the way that bathers are not seen
As
as like legit.
right.
They're just kind of like
Right. They're
the
just
help.
right. The help. Right. Like yeah.
And
Like you could do this job if you didn't have a bather.
yeah,
Or a good
uh,
bath and blow dry. Like
yeah.
anything beyond that, like that is the foundation of
Hmm.
any groom. I don't care if you're doing, the standard poodle continental or, the German Shepherd
Yeah.
D-shed. That bath is the core, is that
Yeah.
foundation. If you don't
That's
have a good, clean,
like
well bathed dog,
the bather program at the school, like people don't want it to be long. So I have to have it
right.
pretty short. So it's 3 weeks. And it's the one that I make the least amount of money on
And yet it's
because
the most important.
they get the well, the reason I make the least amount of money is because I wanted to make sure they got all of the stuff that they needed.
Right.
So they're getting a lot more in that program than I probably should be putting in there, but I
Amount
think
of money, right?
that's important.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
yeah.
Plus, you don't want them to skip it because this is the information you really, really need to
Oh, yeah.
hammer home.
It's got,
You don't want them to skip it.
even like
Have you ever done the brusher bathing course?
I am not.
I haven't either, but I'm curious. The only thing I want to take it just because I'm curious, but I read a lot of comments about it. I've seen a lot of people that have I've clearly done it and maybe done it more than once have said that it hasn't changed. Like there's been
I have heard
no
that it
adjusting,
is still pretty,
which
it's kind of
on
old.
on one hand it's like
No.
okay, it's basic and maybe basics don't change that much. You get the dog clean, get the dog, I mean that might always be there, the basics of that may always be the same, but
Yeah.
you do have to refresh it.
There's still updates to a lot of that.
Yeah.
So
Education,
yeah.
invisible maintenance still matters.
Yeah, with short-haired dogs and cats, you don't really notice as much of a difference
Right.
when you're doing it on a regular basis.
But it
With those, every 6 months when they're impacted, they sure do look satisfying.
I have short-haired cats, and I have one long-haired cat now. And Penguin is actually he's a short hair. He's even shorter than a short hair, kind of
Mm.
like I don't know how to describe him. He'd be like the Doberman,
Yeah.
right? Like there is no impacted coat.
Yeah.
He will never, because that's how his hair is. But you can see when it gets dull, and you can see when there's some dander, when it's, thing up.
Mhm.
And, so yeah, that invisible maintenance still matters. Like I
Yeah.
can still see the difference when I give him a nice bath from before and after.
It's just more subtle.
It
It's
is more subtle.
it's not as satisfying.
Right. Yes. You don't see the big dramatic change.
And then
Which is-
prevention over correction.
Yes, I like that. I like
We want to prevent the
Yep.
problems.
Kind of like the fleas I was talking about in the last
Yeah,
episode.
do the things to prevent
Do
the
what you need to
fleas.
do to prevent the fleas instead of, every 4 or 5 months,
Having a whole thing. Yeah.
yeah, like clearly you're not doing what you should be
Yeah.
doing
And with
regularly
fleas, if you
because,
are regularly keeping up with that stuff, you won't get
right,
it'll stop the problem before it gets bad.
right. Right,
So,
and I don't know what the best course of preventative is for your particular situation, right? Like
yeah.
that is something you need to discuss. Like I can help you.
Yeah.
I can give you some I can offer some,
Yeah.
ideas, but
But it also
you but
depends.
it's good what you're going to do and your other pets and, and maybe your vet needs to be
Also your
involved.
local environment and where
Right, I don't know, where do you live? Do you live,
yeah.
with big fields around you or wooded areas? Do you have 100 squirrels in your yard? Do you have mice?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's all those factors.
Mhm. So,
All right.
uh,
What's the core message?
so the core message is consistency over intensity. If you are
She might be a little tricky. She's not thrilled about her nail trim, but I just want to get her a little bit,
yeah.
all that hair out. I don't know, one of these days. Moving on. I'm trying to keep us on task
Sorry.
here. No, you're good.
So yeah, small regular care prevents big problems. That's the main thing. All right. So now we're going to talk about our crystal for today, and I just had ChatGPT pick one. um, it's the tiger's eye. The tiger's eye is grounding, discipline, follow through. Makes sense
Mhm.
for what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Discipline and follow through.
Clarity over action. So yeah, it represents steady effort or maintenance.
Yeah.
Routine over bursts of motivation, maintenance.
Grooming. Yeah. Maintenance.
Seeing clearly and acting
Consistently.
consistently.
Yep. Okay.
So
That's the perfect tie-in.
yeah, it's yeah, not overhauling grooming all at once, but maintaining it regularly.
Yep. Doing the boring care that actually works.
Yes, it is boring care.
Doing the boring care
Yeah.
that
So
actually works.
and then behavior, dogs trust predictability and routine. So routine creates safety. So it also is good for the dog's behavior and mental health. The tiger's eye is the energy of doing the same small thing consistently until it becomes powerful. So this one we've got reflect. May you discern and distill.
Doing things consistently, I think, is the
Yeah.
best way to look at that.
Yeah. Uh in closing.
Short coats still require intentional care. Maintenance prevents chaos, and what you ignore will build up whether you see it or not. I think that's important, especially like with me and cats. Mindful. All right.
Yeah. All right. So, as above, so below, may your pets be clean and your spirits glow.